going to bring up the next groundbreaking technology innovation team, and that is Proteqt. And Proteqt is in the business of designing, developing, and marketing a range of proprietary next-generation solutions that allow for better asset protection, authentication of merchandise, mitigation of counterfeiting, and article-level RFID across the entire supply chain. And we're privileged to be joined by the two principals. Proteqt was founded in 2009. President and CEO is Michael Mills. Michael has been a part of the founding of 3 additional startup companies as president and CEO. Prior to this, he spent the formative years of his career with a lot of iconic Boston area companies like Data General and Wang and Cambridge Technology Partners. His co-founder, John Berg, is just extraordinarily deep in his technology background. He is the holder of 20 patents. He has a number of other patents pending. He's also an entrepreneur, having founded several companies, including one, Firefly, that was sold to a NASDAQ-traded company, Zygo, for $100 million. He has deep experience in building wafer-scale fabrication facilities, nanoscaling of machinery. He has prior experience at Digital Equipment Corporation, and he is a rocket scientist. He actually worked in the Pratt & Whitney rocket lab before he began his entrepreneurial career. So with that, I want to introduce both John and Michael to come up and talk about Proteqt.
With all the references Michael also gave to how the other two presenters are young, I guess John and I are feeling pretty old this morning. So we'll kick it off and give you some good background on us. As was referenced, John and I founded this company back in 2009. And when we founded the company, we were really focused initially on really understanding in depth what the market was looking at and what its problem was. And on a global basis, this is an industry that we looked at that not only loses over $120 billion a year, but they also spend a significant amount of money to be able to try and deal with solving this problem. When you visualize going into retailers today, you'll see all sorts of means to try and protect the assets. And what those end up doing is those end up only trying to keep this industry from not getting worse than $120 billion in loss a year. So our market we're going after is over $6 billion. If you peel the onion back and you really look at our addressable market, that's what we were focusing on. The other thing that we looked at is developing a truly disruptive technology. We weren't going out to just bring out another widget or another Me Too technology. And for us, what that meant is we had to deliver a CX level value proposition that would compel this supply chain to be able to move forward and to adopt these kind of technologies. And we've proven, and I'll give you some examples of this, how we can deliver to both the retailers, suppliers, extraordinary impact to their bottom line profitability to their companies and in a very accelerated time frame. So what we do, we've developed a technology that allows us to literally protect merchandise when it's manufactured to the point when it is tendered for sale at point of sale in a manner that anywhere in between that through the entire supply chain, if you try to breach or remove our security devices from the merchandise, you will literally cause yourself to destroy the viability of the merchandise, thus taking out any value or need to, or desire or motivation to be able to steal any of the merchandise. Every person in this room right now is touching on something we will protect, whether it's the camera that's taking pictures right now, your cell phone, your suits, your purses, your watches, over-the-counter drugs you may have purchased. We have developed a technology that can scale across all of these high-risk categories that drive that $120 billion loss. The pictures you see here really just represent a number of different applications that we've developed. The span of this, going across this kind of a market, drives in excess of 40 billion items a year that go into these high priority market sectors that we drive. There are 3 parts to our overall technology. The first part are the locks that I described, and I'll tell you more about that in a sec. The second part is overarching all of this is we have a SaaS-based software system that serves two purposes. It's an authentication control system, and it's a security system to ensure that as we protect these assets across the supply chain, you have the ability to be able to securely track, trace, and authenticate the assets anywhere based upon what the stakeholders want to be able to look at. And for retailers, we then put devices at point of sale that have the ability to be able to interface with our locks to be able to affect the authentication and ultimately the release. So what's in these locks, which is the first part, we've developed what we call form engineered locks, and these locks disable whatever the most critical part of that asset is. So if you look at your cell phone and you can't get power into it if we lock down the USB port, or your laptop if we lock down the power outlet, or if we put a lock on a critical part of the apparel, like the zipper, where you could never wear it, then you're disabling that merchandise in a way that it could never be used, sold on the black market, or in any way tampered with prior to it getting through the supply chain and tendering a legal sale. The second part is we embed in these locks an RFID chip. This is if not one of the largest applications of RFID that exists, that we're going after. And for those familiar with the RFID industry, one of the reasons that it hasn't taken off at an item level is the business case has not been there to be able to give the manufacturers and the retailers the ability to be able to adopt the cost of this kind of a technology. We're giving them the business case, as referenced before, that will justify that. The third thing that John and his team have led the invention of is something that has never existed before, and that is the ability for us to control changing the physical properties of adhesives with radio frequency. So we embed adhesives in these locks, and we use those in a manner that's analogous to tumblers in a safe. So in a controlled manner, we can lock and unlock each of those locks that are on the merchandise, and each item level has a unique secured combination that locks and unlocks it. So you're literally talking about billions of unique, securely identifiable locks that we would develop and deploy in the market. The second part is the device we point at point of sale it's a hub to be able to not only be able to interface with the RFID chip that is on the locks, but also to be able to interface back to the point of sale with the retailer and interface back to our software system, which is where we maintain all the secure information that allows us to authenticate and affect the process of releasing the locks. Now, around the theme of innovation, how did we do this? Our first starting point of all this was really having an in-depth understanding of the market. We really knew where this market was, what the competitive landscape was, the pain points, and we knew what we had to be able to perform in our technology. The second part is John then brought the engineering disciplines forward that gave us world-class capabilities in the areas of material sciences, engineering, security, software, adhesives, and areas of power and magnetics. And that gave us a world-class team that we then facilitated ourselves through a 6-month process to be able to rapidly innovate and develop this technology. We threw out at least a half a dozen different approaches that never worked. And in 6 months, we were able to go from literally putting the market requirements on a whiteboard to developing prototypes that proved that we could do this, to being in front of key retailers in the market to validate what we were doing. The eureka moment. When we got into this, we discovered that there were many inflection points of this, but we couldn't, by having the knowledge of the market with the engineering team that we had put together, we had to be able to continually reinvent the innovation until we came up with this approach using the adhesives in the manner that we did. Other approaches could never deliver the price points, the performance, or the scalability, and that finally turned the corner for us, for which we were then able to focus on developing real products out of this that we've then been able to deploy. We're live in our first retailers. This shows you just some representation of the devices that we put at point of sale, the ability for retailers to be able to get their products out and openly merchandised in a secure manner, which our early stage partners on the retail side believe will be able to literally reinvent the entire way that they merchandise products and establish their ability to create the best brand quality with their consumers. John?
Okay, well, we're jumping right into a little bit of a demo on there, so you have to look real carefully. I want you to look at the latch right here. This is a USB drive, but you'll see that the latch actually lowers as the adhesive releases, okay, and that releases the USB so it can actually be unlocked. Now that's, the actual product is right here, and so there you see it in the packaging. It's actually being packaged by P&Y. And so here you are, there's the pad, and we actually align, and I don't know if you saw the lock pop off, but you'll see it, and that kind of gets a little bit of a gee whiz. You know, people see it and they think it's like magic, and so.
And these locks have anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 pounds of locking strength, which is greater than the strength of the products that they're protecting.
So this is one that we're excited about, really for the game market. I mean, you start thinking, well, you know, who wants CDs? But actually a lot of games are being distributed this way. And so there the adhesive was released, and now a hub that was securing the disc can be removed. And so that's something that we're looking at trialing by this fall. And here everybody gets frustrated with the blister packs and, you know, how do I open that? Well, here we're kind of upping the ante a little bit, and we're putting it in a very hard polycarbonate shell, but it's still very small. So kind of in summary, we've actually created prototypes for all of these different types of products and shown that we can accomplish putting in the kind of article level security.
So when you look at some of those examples, just the entertainment industry alone, everybody thinks you're going digital, but the entertainment industry quantified a $6 billion a year opportunity that's left on the table right now because they're not solving this problem. So what we've done is over the last 2 years, 2.5 years, our market momentum, we've been in front of and in the rooms with over $1 trillion of annual revenue, for which this industry and our market momentum moving forward with these retailers has allowed us to be able to truly show them a way that they can return billions of dollars to their bottom line. Thank you.